All right, guys, welcome back again. Thank you for staying with us here. We have our second round of Modern coming your way. This round we're going to have, as you can see up top, oops, wrong way. We have Tim on our left versus Niko on our right. Niko we've had on camera before. He is playing Boggles. So the green-white, hexproof, make my one guy really big deck. Tim, on the other hand, is playing Esper Control. So Tim, not typically one to go find the best deck online and build that one. He prefers to carve his own path, set his own way, make his own little brews up. So Tim, a big fan of Control typically, and this one he's been kind of working on for a little while. So now Niko with the Boggle deck, it's pretty interesting because any of Tim's targeted removal is now going to be useless. However, you have to imagine Tim is playing things like Thoughtseize, Inquisition, the likes of those kind of cards. Now, getting a look at Tim's hand here, it looks like he's a Snapcaster, a Condemn, an Esper Charm, a Logic Knot, a Watery Grave, a Celestial Colonnade, and I believe a Marsh Flats possibly, or a Fetid Heath possibly. So it's an interesting hand. The Logic Knot is an interesting counterspell, to say the least. If it doesn't have anything in graveyard, it's a little harder to work with. We'll pull it up on screen. Blue, and X, but it has Delve, so it's interesting. So Niko did mulligan to 6 here, which is pretty important. Yeah, down to 5. So we know Tim doesn't currently have in hand any sort of hand disruption, at least not for his turn 1. He does have Esper Charm. Card you don't see a lot in Modern, but there it is. So destroy an enchantment, which is actually going to be very, very key this match. Draw 2 cards, or target player discards 2 cards. So Esper Charm's probably going to do quite a bit here for Tim. He's going to be able to, if Niko doesn't deploy any sort of realistically big threat early on, he can just make him discard 2 cards. He can also, if Niko gets a big enchantment, just get rid of that enchantment. Okay, Niko keeping his 5 here. I saw a Core Spirit Dancer, a Plains, and some auras, so we'll see what he's able to muster here. He's on the play, so there's the Plains and the pass of the turn. So Tim draws, I believe, a second copy of Condemn, which is going to do nothing. So, well, that's not true. Spirit Dancer you can target all you want, so I guess it's not totally dead. I believe we're probably going to see, yep, there is the Core Spirit Dancer. So we'll pull that one up. Whoops, let's spell Dancer properly. There we go. So the 0/2 for 1 and a white gets +2/+2 for each aura attached to it, and whenever you cast an aura spell, you get the draw card, or you may draw a card. So definitely not a bad card. It's right at home here in this Boggle deck. Condemn is going to be an answer to this card, of course. Okay, a second Core Spirit Dancer, and a pass of the turn. So this is definitely a way that Niko can dig out of his mulligan. We'll pull up Condemn again. It's not typically one you see a lot. So a single white mana. Oh, so that's Flagstones of Troikair from Tim. So that's definitely an interesting land. So yes, Condemn, sorry, single white mana, instant speed, put target attacking creature on the bottom of its owner's library. Its controller gains life equal to its toughness. So it's not hard removal like Path to Exile, or Lightning Bolt, those kind of things. It's gonna bury it at the bottom of its deck though, so pretty well just gone. Niko fetching down to 17, finding his green mana here thanks to that Temple Garden off of the Wooded Foothills. And we'll see what he can come up with here. He's got, looks like he has 2 copies of Spider Umbra and an Ethereal Armor in his hand. So this is going to let him draw 2 cards. And now that Spirit Dancer is going to be a 3/5, if I'm not mistaken. there's the Ethereal Armor. This is where it's going to really hurt that Tim is playing Condemn, because this Spirit Dancer is going to be gone in a second. But here comes the attack. So we'll add it up. So 4 from the aura is attached to it from its own ability. And then plus another 1, 2, 3. So 7 power and 9 toughness. Niko's going to gain 9, though. So whatever Tim's win con is, it's going to actually need to deal a lot of damage if it's damage involved, which usually it is. Yep, so Niko up to 26 here. Tim is safe. Again, I think I saw a second copy Condemn plus those Snapcaster mages his hand. So he is definitely not light on removal here. He is going to definitely need Niko to not play a Boggle, though. Any one of those hexproof creatures is going to be really backbreaking here. So here we see a Serum Vision coming out of Tim. Looks like he's found a copy of Ancestral Vision in the top 2, which he's going to put to the bottom. Another card I didn't get a good look at, it might have been a Snapcaster Mage, but puts it on top. So definitely a card he wants. Now, yeah, there is the 4th land. He's going to shock himself down to 18. And okay, so passes the turn back. So okay, and there's the one we didn't want to find for Tim. There is the Slippery Boggle. Well, Logic Knot will be able to answer this. We'll pull up the Slippery Boggle on screen. There he is. So single green mana or single blue mana, a 1/1 hexproof. Tim says you're going to need to pay 3 more mana. Niko says I can't. Okay, so he does have an opening here. He's going to pay 2 life. He has a Rancor in his hand that I saw, so he's going to get to draw a card off of that. I think the real problem here is his hand is mostly green, and he only has 1 open green source, so adds a Dryad Arbor to his hand. So this core Spirit Dancer is attacking for 4 damage here, though. It is a 4/4 now. And Tim is just forced to take it. So Tim's going to fall to 14. All right, Niko's fallen to 24 after that shock land. So, all right, so we'll see what Tim can fire back with. Starts with a Thought Scour, milling himself. Hits an Azorius Charm and another copy of Condemn. Draws another copy of Logic Knot to go with the one already in his graveyard. Tim does have the ability to cast Esper Charm, but I don't think it's doing much for him at this point. So we see Niko untap and draw, adds, I believe, another copy of Ethereal Armor. No, I think that's Spirit Link. Let's see if we can get that pulled up. Spell it right. Yep, Spirit Link, okay. Wow, another Boggle as well. That's huge. Spider Umbra. Interesting Tim not countering this Boggle. In comes this core Spirit Dancer again. A copy, I think, of Tassiger in Tim's hand. Possibly Murderous Cut. Looks like a Black Delve spell, though. Niko is attacking here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with Lifelink. So Tim is going to take that. So if life totals are correct, Tim has fallen to 8 here, and Niko's gone up to 20, or 30, sorry. Tim goes ahead, Esper Charms, choosing to draw 2 cards. Okay, sorry, 10 to 28. My apologies. We had a miscount on life totals there. Spirit Link, an interesting card as it doesn't actually give lifelink. It gives a triggered ability that when the creature deals damage, you gain that much life. So if a creature you have has lifelink, that doubles up the life gain. So interesting. Niko taking a read of Flagstones of Trocaire. We'll pull it up here on screen as well. So a legendary land, essentially legendary plains, but when it leaves the battlefield and goes to the graveyard, search your library for a plains card and put it into play tapped. So Niko drawn a lot of lands here. Has a copy of Unflinching Courage in his hand, which is going to be really important. He needs to filter through these lands, I think, here. He's got to find something. Okay, another copy of Spider Umber as well. Going to target the Slippery Boggle again. So we have the draw trigger first. Yep, he's going to go ahead. He draws a third copy of Core Spirit Dancer. Looks like Tim says, I believe Tim letting that Spider Umber resolve. Yep. Okay, and Niko fetching, gets a forest for himself. Offers the cut to Tim. And yep, says, here's my next Core Spirit Dancer. Tim thinking here. Looks like he might be looking at that Logic Knot. Nope, says it's fine. And in we come for another 3 + 6, so 9 damage, I think. So Tim probably going to condemn this Core Spirit Dancer again, is my guess. Okay, he's going to play a Snapcaster Mage. I would assume he's targeting the Condemn, possibly targeting Azorius Charm. No, looks like it's just Condemn. Yep. Condemns away another Core Spirit Dancer. Down to the bottom, he's going to gain a bunch of life again. Rancor does go back to his hand. Rancor will pull up on screen here. So when Rancor goes to the graveyard from play, it goes back to his owner's hand instead. So, okay, and it looks like Tim opting just to block the Slippery Boggle instead here. Doesn't want to take any more damage. Niko going to go ahead and maximize his use of mana this turn. Cast Rancor on the Slippery Boggle again to draw a card. I think that's a good play from Niko instead of waiting until his next turn. This does let him draw a card now. Lets him use more of his mana in one turn as opposed to splitting it across 2 turns. Really just maximizing what he's able to do as he's able to do it. So I think a heads-up play from Niko there for sure. Some players might, already having been past the combat step, might just decide, no point in casting this Rancor. I'll wait till my next turn, which not the most mana efficient. So Tim does have an Ancestral Vision suspended, so he's going to go ahead and take it down to 3. A lot of cards in hand, but I don't think there's a lot of answers to that Boggle. So that's going to be a rough one for him to fight through. The deck typically playing, I believe, 8 to 10 copies of or similar cards to Slippery Boggle. He's got the 4 Boggles himself, the 4 Glade Cover Scouts, and typically plays some number of Solana Ledgewalkers. So here we see Tim delving, and I think this is going to be for Tasigur. Yeah, that should be for Tasigur, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, Tasigur the Golden Fang. The black mana 4/5 legendary creature does have delve, so that 5 mana extra doesn't typically matter. And then he gets to pay 2 blue in this case, and his mills 2, and his opponent gives him a card back from his graveyard. So Tasigur is a fantastic card for control decks, as it just lets them recur so much value cards. Right now, Tim only having in his graveyard Lingering Souls and Esper Charm. 2 choices that, I mean, if you're in Niko's spot, you don't really want to give him back. So now, a big note here. That's pretty big. Tim is able to put everything in front of the Boggle and I think get rid of one of its Umbras. Oh, unless that's... Okay, interesting. So that is a Spirit Mantle out of Niko there. So gives his creature protection from creatures and gets +1/+1. So that one giving him +3/+3. The Unflinching Courage giving +4/+4. So 7 damage. That's essentially unblockable for Tim. And then the Boggle does have Trample thanks to that Rancor. So the Boggle right now having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 power. You don't have protection from Condemn though. Yeah, Tim getting absolutely maximum value out of those Condemns. You'll notice the Boggle didn't die. That is thanks to Totem Armor, which is attached to these Spider Umbras. So if the enchanted creature would die, instead take remove all the damage from it and get rid of this aura instead. So just protecting it completely. So. And there is a second one still attached to that Boggle as well, so Tim is going to have to kill it twice more to actually get rid of this. Okay, Tim deciding what to do here. Now this, he is able to block now, which is pretty important. The Boggle at the moment has 4 power. Again, Trample is attached to it at the moment, which is important. Tim can't overlook that. Tim with a copy of Sphinx's Revelation in his hand, representing that he's going to draw 2 cards here. All right, another copy of Slippery Boggle. Has in hand, it looks like a Glade Cover Scout, a Hyena Umbra. Not too sure what the card there was at the front of his hand, but that's the Hyena Umbra. So another one similar to Spider, except it also gives it First Strike. So +1/+1 in First Strike instead of Reach. But it also has that Totem Armor clause. Another mana. Griff's Boon. Okay. A new one added to this deck from Shadows over Innistrad. Get it pulled up there. So +1/+0 in flying. This one is pretty handy because you're able to pay 3 and a white to return it from the battlefield to the creature, to a creature. So pretty efficient. A nice little enchantment for 1 mana. Here comes Snapcaster Mage, targeting Esper Charm. Esper Charm going to destroy... I'm not sure what. Looks like Hyena Umbra is the choice. So he loses First Strike and +1/+1. Looks like he's double blocking. Oh, wow. Okay, wow. Did not notice that. So yeah, that was an attack for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But he only had 2 toughness. So the Spirit's trading for that Spider Umbra. So the very good play by Tim there. Plays a Flooded Strand. So the Boggle now is only a 4 power creature. It does still have flying and trample. But a single Spirit is now able to trade with that Boggle, which is pretty huge. For Mulligan to 5, Niko is fighting hard, I have to say. In fact, he's ahead entirely, I think, in my opinion. Tim is getting close to turning that corner, if, possibly already there. Niko has to be careful with now. He needs to find some, he really needs his Daybreak Core. That's what his big one is. Not having found one of those yet is a little rough. If you're in Niko's spot. All right, another Infliction Courage that's a huge draw. +2/+2 trample and lifelink. We'll get that one pulled up on camera. There we have it there. The, if I'm not mistaken, Dragon's Maze. Yeah, Dragon's Maze enchantment. +2/+2, trample, and lifelink. A very good enchantment here. I think this is going to be a logic knot from Tim, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he can afford to let that courage resolve. I don't think he can allow this to resolve. That would be absolutely backbreaking. I don't think it's enough to kill him on the spot, but it doesn't let those spirits trade anymore, which is the big thing. Tim saying, I want you to pay 4 mana extra, please. Niko says, I can't do that. It goes away. Niko left now with a copy of Dryad Arbor and Gladecover Scout in hand. So Gladecover Scout essentially just another boggle. Doesn't do anything else. Just plays out the Dryad Arbor and says go. Doesn't even attack. So big turn for Tim. He gets to start the turn by drawing 3 cards. That's huge. That vision's got to go off. A 3rd copy of Logic Knot added to his hand to go along with the 1 in his graveyard and the 1 in exile now. Yeah, I think Tim's now turned that corner. Niko's run out of gas. Daybreak Coronet could change things, but it has to get through 7 cards in Tim's hand, which I think is not likely. Tim falling to 4 here. Sphinx's Revelation still in hand, so at the moment he's able to gain another 4 life with the mana he has available. This is still game 1 as well, which is pretty key to note. Tim is definitely the long game deck here. Niko might have to get to the point where he starts thinking about, packing it in because he's not going to be able to beat the control deck. Tim's win con from here is going to be a long road as well, but he's just in firm control of this game. So Tim, Serum Visions again. Decides to go 1 on top, 1 on bottom. Not too sure what he put on top of his deck there, but he wants to draw it now, so. 2 more cards down to the bottom. One of them was a land, it looked like. I'm not sure about the second one, but. Okay, so Supreme Verdict, a very important card, and Tim is signaling that he's probably wrathing when this is the case. Yeah. Niko opting to block with Dryad Arbor may as well. I feel that Niko's aware that if Tim is swinging with everything, it probably means he's not going to have creatures very much longer. And that is definitely the case here as Tim counts out his 4 mana, casts Supreme Verdict. There we have it on screen for you guys there. So the 1 white blue can't be countered, destroy all creatures spell. So a very strong card out of the Esper deck, especially fighting this Boggles deck when there are no longer any Totem Armor enchantments. A good draw from Niko though. Another copy of Core Spirit Dancer. Now he will get to, so the order of this is going to be he's going to get the land first and then draw the card. Rancor will not resolve, so it will not go back to his hand any longer. Yeah, I believe it depends entirely when Tim stacked this. Niko says, I don't care about the basic land necessarily. There it is. Okay, great. And now he'll get to draw a card for the Rancor being cast. Okay. That was, if I'm not... Oh, no, that wasn't his final copy because he's been putting them on the bottom of his deck, so... Okay, a Hyena Umbra on a Gladecover Scout. So Niko went from having quite the board state down to a 2/2 with First Strike and Hexproof. So Tim is in firm control now. Niko needs a string of very good draws to get out of this one, and it's probably going to have to start with something like Daybreak Coronet. Yeah, Tim simply passing the turn back with Celestial Colony at the ready, as well as a Sphinx's Rev in hand. Yeah, Niko just says go. Tim falling to 3, and I imagine we're going to see that Sphinx's Revelation now. This is going to be big. Tim draws 5 cards and gains 5 life. So Tim will be going to 9. If I'm not mistaken. Shilling events added to the field for Tim. Says I got 7 cards in hand. You can go probably. Get Tim at 8. Sorry. Yep. Okay. Looks like he's counting his mana out for a couple different possibilities. At this point, if I'm Niko, I'm picking my cards up probably. There's so much needed to have this go right for you. Lingering Souls after suspending an Ancestral Visions number 2. Tim is just in firm control here. I don't know what Niko can really do here. I think he drew an Ethereal Armor possibly. He does have First Strike, so the Spirits can't kill this Scout. Yeah, Niko just passes back again. Yeah, with time winding down here, Niko needs to start looking at what he can do in games 2 and 3 to get back into this game. Tim doesn't really have any need to put any pressure on. He just has this game pretty well over with. He's going to turn on Channeling Events and attack for 2. Niko has a path to exile to get rid of that Channeling Events. Tim deciding if he wants to let that resolve or not. I think if I'm Tim, I'm fine with this resolving. Sure. You still have 2 more man lands. There's no real need here. Yep, Tim's fine with this. I'll get a basic land on my deck. Think he had any left. Niko plays the land and says go. Tim puts it down to 2, draws a card. Yeah, no basic from Tim. Doesn't have one left. Might just not even care. Flashes back, Lingering Souls. Aha! 18 turns to go. If you guys have watched stream before, Cody and I, when we're on together, we commentate on the fact that once control starts attacking, you've probably lost this game. Tim has now for 2 turns in a row been able to attack with his creatures. When you're not afraid of having to block anymore, I don't think you can hope for much. Okay, another copy. Of course, Spirit Dance are drawn here for Niko. Funny thing is that's his 5th copy cast this game, but thanks to Condemns, they've all been on the bottom of his deck. So with Niko fetching and shuffling, they gone back into the deck somewhere. This is going to be that 3rd copy of Logic Knot from Tim. Just deciding how he wants to, or what he wants to exile here. He's going to say, I assume, pay 7. Niko says, nope, can't do that. Here's an Unflinching Courage. I now have a 4/4 lifelink trample. Tim says I have Approach Command. I will counter and draw a card. And Niko passes the turn back with a 2-2 still. Tim down to 1 on that Ancestral Visions. Turns them all sideways. Niko takes it, falling down to 32. Tim, another shelling events for the turn. Doesn't need to do much more than that. Casts another copy of Supreme Verdict, which will just trade for Hyena Umbra in this case, leaving Niko with a 1-1. I think another copy of Glade Cover Scout drawn there. Niko attacks for 1. And yeah, this is just walking into a colonnade, so Tim says I'll block. Niko deploys another copy of Glade Cover Scout and passes back. Tim will draw 3 more cards. Niko possibly going for the I'm going to deck you out plan. I have to imagine Tim is aware of that possibility and will eventually start just turning on his lands to attack with. And he comes for 2 damage with lifelink. Niko falls to 27, Tim back to 10. Tim looking over his hand, deciding what should I play next. The world is my oyster. Decides Jace, Architect of Thought. Not one that we see much often, or very often anymore. Is that even English? I'm not even sure anymore. This Jace, not one you see very commonly. Okay. Looks like he opted for the until the end of your next turn, or until the start of your next turn, sorry. Anytime a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, it gets -1/-0 until end of turn. So this is essentially attack for 2 from Niko, thanks to that Rancor. Otherwise, that Glade Cover Scout would have done 0. So Jace is good at minimizing the threat of these boggles and Glade Cover Scouts because now they deal 0 damage. So Tim playing a Godless Shrine, it looks like tapped. Jace gonna go down. So if I'm Niko, I think at this point I just say the piles are 3 and 0. You want Tim to go through his deck as fast as you can. I think in all honesty at this point, Tim decking himself is your win con. So I think if I'm Niko, I just go, the pile is 3 and 0. If you want the cards, take them all. If you don't want them, take nothing. Tim digging himself deeper and deeper with the Serum Visions. I don't know what the deck count is right now from Tim, obviously, but yep, Niko gets another 2 damage, down to 25. Tim gains 2 back to 10. Okay, passes back. Niko untaps, no cards in hand. Draws for the turn. Didn't get a good look. I think it was it's a Wood of Foothills. And says go. Celestial Colonnade again being on blocking duty, making it so Niko cannot attack into it. At least not profitably. Okay, Ghost Quarter is the draw for Tim. That doesn't matter here at all. Okay. Shambling Vents being turned on again. Really, this is just padding his life total. He is able to trade if he'd like. I don't think Niko really wants to. The threat of having this attacker is important, but ultimately it doesn't do a lot. Tim up to 12, Niko down to 23. Tim gonna tick his Jace. Down again. Remand off the top with a path to exile as well as an Elspeth Suns champion. Well, there's the win con now for sure. Interesting. Okay, he gives. Okay, Tim's just gonna take Elspeth. Yeah, there can't be many cards left there for Tim. But there's the Elspeth. We'll get her pulled up. She is definitely Tim's win con at this point. There she is. Put 3 1/1 white soldier creature tokens onto the field. Destroy all creatures with power 4 or greater. Or you get an emblem that all your guys get +2/+2 now flying. It's pretty strong. And yeah, Tim now just going to be ticking up that Elspeth until all his guys can gain flying, and that'll end the game on its own. So, yeah, again, 8.5 minutes. Niko can win that fast in game 2 to cause a draw possibly, but I don't like his odds. Now he has a 5-1 boggle, assuming this Rancor resolves, which it might. Tim does have, Cryptic Command mana up if he wants. Yep, Niko puts it on and just says go again. Okay, Tim draws. The scout can't even block these soldiers, which is just backbreaking for Tim, or for Niko rather. Yep, turns on chilling events again. Says I'll attack for 5 instead. I have to imagine all the soldiers getting in the red zone. There's really no need not to. Yep. Niko says I'll take 5. Tim will gain 2. Tim says I'll make more soldiers and tick up Jace. Yeah, less than 7 minutes to go in the round here for these two players. Winning at game 2, getting farther and farther away from Niko. Is that another copy of Griffspoon? It is. Okay, this would kill Elspeth if it resolves. Niko forgetting that there was another copy of that in his graveyard. Yeah. 5. It actually will not kill Elspeth. I think he's going at Tim, though, which I have to disagree with. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the enchantments, +1 from the Giga Starter herself, -1 from Jace. That's an attack for 5. Players discussing to make sure that it's correct, which should be. I think Tim debating if he wants to block with a Celestial Colonnade. Which I think, sure, why not? Just get it out of the way. Snapcaster Mage. Targeting. Nothing? I don't know what it targeted. Cryptic Command, I guess. Yep. Okay, so I'm not sure where we're at this point. Okay, Niko decided that's enough finally. He's going to pack it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Tim might have had lethal on his own, to be honest, but... so, 5 minutes in this round for these players. They're going to sideboarding now. I don't like Niko's chances. Yes, can his deck win that fast? Yes. Tim has to keep a totally uninteractive hand. Niko has to keep the absolute nuts basically to get out of this situation. I don't see a way that Niko wins this, unfortunately. Yeah, Tim really at that point just content with letting Niko run the clock down for him. Tim was going to win that game. There's no way around it. Niko would have needed to hit a perfect string of draws, and Tim have nothing every time he does. So we'll see. I'm not too sure what Niko has for the sideboard. If you could have things, Defense Grid is a card that sometimes has played in these decks, I think. He could have Suppression Fields to make Tim have to pay for his Planeswalker activations. Tim, I imagine, is bringing in more counter magic. Yeah, Tim counting to make sure he has the right number of cards being brought in and brought out. I guess if he presents a legal deck, he could get a game loss. Probably not at this REL, but Tim just wanted to make sure that everything is the way he wants it to be. Everything's right. And I think Tim's well aware that if that's the case, he'll probably win this match. So. All right, both players just shuffling up here, getting ready for this game 2. All right, so both pairs presenting decks, cutting, and I mean, we're going to see turns start relatively fast after the start of this game. One big problem with Niko's deck that it runs into sometimes is it doesn't have a lot of creatures, and it needs to have at least one, if not two, most of the time to really do anything. So both players taking them all into 6 here. I think Niko's hand that time had no lands in it, actually. So not the problem you normally see. So if I'm not mistaken, I'm hearing time being called upstairs for our normal matches. This one pretty close to being on time with them, it looks like. There is a creature in Niko's hand. I don't know if there's a land. Okay, looks like there's a Rage Reverse Thicket, so Niko's probably going to keep this hand. Tim thinking. Decides, sure, I'll keep as well, why not? Yeah, and there we go. So Niko going to have the play. going to have a turn 1 Glade Cover Scout. Okay, so that's time here on my camera. I'm not too sure what time is left upstairs for our modern players. We'll see if I can get confirmation here. Yeah, so they are on turns now, it looks like. So, yeah, Niko can't win in 2 attacks, so... Yeah, sure, Serum Visions. Yeah, this game looks to be over, so... Tim could literally just play with a ham sandwich and this game's over. It doesn't matter anymore. So I'm not sure who turn 0 is. It looks like, okay, so it looks like Niko was turn 0 with his first turn of the game. So turn 2 now. What would he need? There's no math that does this. That's 2 damage. Tim says, yep, I'm at 18. Turn 3. Okay, Niko has a boggle, sure. Tim draws. Tim plays something. Serum Visions number 2. Yeah, Tim's at 15, so Niko's got 1 attack left in this game. He's representing at the moment 3 damage. I don't see any way that 3 mana makes 12 damage happen, but maybe I'm wrong. Okay, untaps, turn 4, draws. There's an Ethereal Armor in his hand. It's a Daybreak Coronet. That's +3/+3. Vigilance, Lifelink. Okay, sure. 3 Ethereals is 12 damage. Thank you very much for pointing that out upstairs. You are correct. 3 Ethereal Armors is game. This is turn 5. Tim says draw. So Tim does win 1-0.